Hello, it is I, IARESMART, here to talk about the Book of Boba Fett on Disney+. That's right, I'm going to do my review of the show. Overall, it was a thing that happened. It was kind of cool. I have a lot of problems with it, but there's also a lot of stuff I like. And also I think this series is getting a bit more hate than it deserves. So I'm going to talk about all that in this video. And as you can see, I'm wearing my Mandalorian shirt, because I don't have a Boba Fett shirt. And this is the closest thing. This is basically just another season of The Mandalorian, alright? Like, especially towards the end. So whatever. You want my spoiler-free review? I think this show, you really can't pass it up. A lot of big, stuff happens, and it's probably going to build off, future series. They're probably going to reference this and stuff. So if you're a Star Wars fan, you kind of have to watch this. But is it good? It's got good parts. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great stuff that happens in the show. Just gets overshadowed by a lot of just kind of or like meh. So yeah, but overall, I don't know if I really recommend it, but you're probably just going to end up watching it anyway, so go watch it. So anyway, I'm going to be talking mainly spoilers in this video, but also at the end, I kind of want to get into like how I would change it. I know a lot of people have already talked about this, and I don't know if they have the same idea I have, but whatever. So I'm just going to do that at the end of this video, because, I don't know, I have a thing, one thing I would change, and I think it would make it way better. But again, I'm not a writer, so whatever. So anyway, yeah, this series. Can we talk about the main theme? It's really good. Like, it stood out to me a lot. Like, I already love the Mandalorian theme, where it's like do 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 da 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 da. But this one's really good. It's kind of like that. It's composed by the same guy, whose name I cannot pronounce. But it's kind of like da 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 dun 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 dun, and then it goes like dun da dun dun da dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Like, it's got this choir in there. It's amazing. I love music so much. It's so good. So anyway, I'm getting distracted. Is this series good? Kind of. I don't know. I'm gonna get into the episodes, because I think that's how I like to break this down. Episode by episode. So chapter 1, our first introduction, right? So we got Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. They're both. It just picks up where Mando Season 2 left off, where they're just in charge of Jabba's palace now, because, I don't know, it doesn't explain it at this point. They're just in charge, because they showed up, and then they're like, alright, how are we gonna control Mos Espa? Because there's Mos Eisley, which was in, like, the original trilogy, where Luke was, like, right next to it. It's this hive of scum and villainy and whatnot. And you have Mos Espa, which is where Anakin did a pod race, and I guess Jabba was in charge of that area before he, blew up. So yeah, that happened. So anyway, Boba Fett's just going to be in charge now. He just goes and's like, hey, I'm in charge now. And everyone's like, okay, sure. So yeah, whatever. Anyway, again, Temuera Morrison, it was great to see him in the series. I think he did a great job acting. It was cool to see him do all the action scenes and stuff. And it's crazy that he can still do them, even though he's getting older. And also Ming-Na Wen is great as Fennec Shand. It's great we got to see more of her, because she was really good. Like, she was really good. I don't know if anyone else watched the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series, but that was super good, and she was in that, and she did really good in that series as well. So, yeah, that's just a thing I felt like mentioning here. Back to Season 1, everyone was complaining about how he escaped the Sarlacc pit. I didn't get that. They were like, he didn't do it the way I wanted him to. That's so stupid. It's like, what are you expecting? He used his flamethrower, and he clawed out of there. What more did you want? Did you want him to, rain fire with the Slave One and, blast out of the sky? Because he did that later on, so, I don't know, whatever. I mean, didn't really, Fennec dropped a seismic charge in it. That's getting into one of the later episodes, but still, it's like, I don't get why people complain about stupid stuff like that. Like, it didn't happen the way I wanted it to. That's stupid. That's the writer's fault for not asking me how I wanted it to be. Like, what are you, 5? Come on. Anyway, so yeah, this is where I'm gonna get into my main problem with this show, is that for the first 3 episodes, it's like 10 minutes of, what's actually going on in the main plot of the show, and then 30 minutes of backstory, where it's like, okay, this is cool that we got to see, how he survived the Sarlacc pit and, his Tusken Raider and all that stuff. It was cool, but it's really boring, and I think they could have cut down on it and spread it out. Instead of just having episodes 1, 2, and 3 be, how he met the Tusken Raiders and got, indoctrinated into their cult, basically, I feel like they could have spread that out a bit more, even into, 5 and 6, maybe even 7 to an extent. But, it just kind of stops at episode 3. There's a little bit in episode 4, but that's focused more on, oh no, all the Tuskens are dead now, and he meets Fennec Shand, so, yeah. And then after that episode, there was no more flashbacks, because he didn't need to use the back tank anymore, I guess. I don't know. I just felt like they could have put more stuff in. Like, especially, like, you get to see episode 5, where Mando shows up. That could have been in way sooner. Like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 to really, like, reel in those fans. Instead of just having one episode that's just Mando and nothing else, cut that episode in half, put a bit over here. This is getting into my main point of what I would change in the series, but I'll touch more on it later. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. I think that the first episodes really drag, and then everything's just crammed in at the end, which I don't get. Like, I don't see why they did that. And it doesn't make any sense to me. So, anyway, and then, yeah, episode 2, I couldn't tell you what happened. It was more of the same stuff, where it's like, okay, they meet with a bunch of people on Tatooine. There was a guy selling water, or was that 3? I can't remember. Was I think the biker gang, or the mods, was that what they were called? The people with, like, robot arms and stuff? I think that was episode 3, but again, I can't remember. So, yeah, episode 2, whatever. I will mention, though, I really did like the Tusken Raider thing, because the Tusken Raiders, we don't really get to see much of them. All we really know about them is that, you know, they were in a little bit in A New Hope, and, you know, they killed Anakin's mom. So, but other than that, there was really not much we know about them. So to meet this, like, specific tribe and, you know, learn about them more, I thought that was interesting. It was interesting to see, you know, a bit of Tusken Raider culture, you know, how they get their gaffy stick and all their robes and stuff. And obviously, Boba Fett looked really cool in the robes. I think that was a pretty cool outfit for him. So yeah, I liked that. I think the timeline was a bit confusing. It wasn't explained well, because there's like a 5-year gap in between Return of the Jedi and the events in The Mandalorian. So for 5 years, like, he was just with these Tuskens, living with them, or like, and like at what point did he become like a full-on Tusken Raider, like you know, got like his whole robe and everything? When did that happen? So I feel like that could have been more clear. You know, maybe give us some reference as to what else was going on in the galaxy, but I don't know. That's just me being nitpicky. So, yeah, Chapter 3, again, like, I think this is the one that had that really bad chase scene that everyone made fun of. I got nothing to say on that one. It's dumb. It was super dumb. It was so bad it's good in a way, but it was just like, what is happening? What am I watching? Why did the speeders look so dumb? Why do they go so slow? Why are these robot people, like... And then you got the mayor, he wasn't the mayor, he was the mayor's, like, associate or whatever. He was kind of annoying. Let's be honest. He was just annoying, alright? He was funny a couple times, but he was mainly annoying. He's just driving away like, oh no, I hope they don't catch me. And it's like, oh, I crashed now. It's like 2-mile-an-hour chase around Mos Espa. It was the dumbest thing ever. And finally, Boba just jetpacks in. He's like, okay, I'm here now. Why was that so dumb? Like, seriously, guys, you couldn't have figured that one out. Make it as somewhat cool. It just looked dumb. Honestly, the best thing we got out of that was the one video I saw where someone edited in Mario Kart sound effects. That was spot on. Anyway, Chapter 4. Here's where stuff gets kind of interesting, because we hit the end of, you know, all the backstory stuff, and we're actually like, oh, the Pikes are going to be the bad guys. You may remember them from the Clone Wars. Yeah, they did the exact same thing, where they're like, hey, we sell drugs. Want to buy drugs? And everyone's like, no, that's evil, because spice is bad. I don't know. Anyway, I've never done spice. No, never. Anyway, so I don't really get it. You know, it's cool, and like the train was cool. It's kind of cool. Was that 3 or 4? I don't remember. Anyway, space train. I love trains. Anyway, yeah, a bunch of other stuff happened. You know, Boba like gets the Slave One back, slaughters that whole biker gang. That was cool. You know, blows up the Sarlacc pit with a seismic charge. That was kind of cool. Honestly, I don't see what he was really doing there. He's like, oh, the armor's got to be in there. I'm just gonna, like, you know, fly my ship so it's literally touching the ground, because great idea there. And it's like, oh no, it's grabbing me with its tentacles now. It's like, really? What do you think was gonna happen? Like, your ship was hovering on, like, the ground. When did you think that was gonna be a good idea? Just drop, like, a probe down there or something. I don't know. Anyway, Chapter 5. Again, this was just Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1. Like, what's even the point of calling it Book of Boba Fett Episode 5? It's not Episode 5. It's an episode of The Mandalorian. I think they wanted it to be like a Mandalorian episode, because, I mean, that's what it was. So my guess is they wanted to intertwine the two stories, but they couldn't really because they had to, like, establish all this Mando stuff first to tie them in. But again, I think this stuff should have been way earlier on, especially to get people more interested in the show. Because, like, after the first 3 and 4 episodes, people were already kind of checking out on this series. And then out of nowhere, they're like, hey, Mando's here. So, I don't know. It felt like they were course correcting or something. Like they were just like, we're going off Tusken Raiders. Oh, it's Mando time. So it was just really weird and really jarring. But it was a cool episode, though. You know, Mando using the Darksaber, and we see that he's, you know, not good at it, which is cool. Cool character development for him that, you know, he's not just, he doesn't just know how to use a lightsaber off the bat. So that's cool. I liked how they did that. You know, him being kicked out of the Mandalorians and all that stuff. You know, Paz Vizsla beating them up and whatnot. This is cool. And then, yeah, then episode 6. It's just, you know, it's just Grogu time. Grogu's training with Luke. That was crazy. And Ahsoka shows up. Again, I liked Luke and Grogu training. I thought it was nice. You know, it's reminiscent of Yoda and Luke training. It was basically that. So it was interesting. But again, it's like, okay, this is cool, but I don't think it fits this series. Like, they're trying to get that overall narrative. Like, this is all cool stuff they're showing me, but put it in something else. Like, put it in its own thing. This is supposed to be about Boba Fett. If that's going to be the thing, make it about Boba Fett. Like, this is cool. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I really did enjoy it. But I'd like this show to be concise and about one thing, not like, you know, all these other things. That's what another thing I could get into is how I preferred Mandalorian Season 1 over Season 2. Because a lot of cool stuff happened in Season 2, but it was doing all these other things. Like Ahsoka's here, and Luke's here at the end, and, you know, all this other stuff in the middle, and Bo-Katan and whatnot. Like, you got all this stuff crammed into Season 2, whereas Season 1 is kind of like its own thing. And I like that way better. It didn't rely on other Star Wars stuff as much. So, I'm really hoping with the more Star Wars series we get that they don't keep doing this, where it's just like, oh, look, here's this character showing up now, aren't you excited? Look, Cad Bane's at the end of this episode, wow, he's from the Clone Wars, his face looks dumb. But it's like, come on, can we have, like, just a Star Wars thing that just sits on its own? Like, that's what was so great about Mando Season 1. But then they just moved on, and they're like, alright, we're going back to just, look at this character, this character showed up. I don't really get it. So anyway, yeah, and then at Chapter 7, it was the finale, big finale and all that stuff, and it was just like, wow, that's a lot to take in. Just so much stuff happened in this episode, and, like, not all of it was good. I'm gonna be honest. I think the giant droideka things were cool. Apparently those things were from Legends. Also, another character I forgot to mention, Black Karsten Stan, the Wookiee dude. He was cool. Apparently he was another character they took from Legends and were just like, yeah, you're canon now. So he was cool, I guess, how he, like, fought Boba Fett, and then Boba Fett was like, hey, you wanna work for me? He did that, like, quite a few times in the series, if I remember correctly. But yeah, anyway, it was just, I don't know, it was whatever. And yeah, then there was, like, they were all fighting in the streets. The one, dude with, like, the gray cloak, I don't remember his name. He was one of the robot people. He did, like, this cool spin move for no reason. That was cool, I guess. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened. How do the Pikes just have these giant robot things? That wasn't explained, but whatever. And then Cad Bane shows up again and then has this final duel with Boba that has some of the weirdest dialogue I've ever heard. It's like, I'm not a baby anymore. I can fight you, Cad Bane. He's like, yeah, well, I'm faster than you. It's like, well, you're old. And it's like, and I have armor. It was just the weirdest thing. It was very weird to me. I did like how he ended up using the gaffy stick to win the fight. I think that was really good, because it ties everything together. It ties, like, his new character arc of, you know, the Tusken Raiders and whatnot, him moving on from being a bounty hunter to being, like, a daimyo? I don't know what that word means. He kept saying that. Like, that's what he wants to be. I don't know what it means. I'm just gonna assume it means a good guy. So it's like he's moving on from being a bounty hunter who works from the Empire to being a good guy. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's what they're getting at. But I liked that. I just think they could have done it way better. And then it's just at the end, it's like, alright, the Rancor is being King Kong now. It's gonna climb a building and grab Mando. Like, I don't, like, okay. Also, yeah, I totally forgot to mention, there's a Rancor. Like, Danny Trejo shows up, you know, flipping Raul from Fallout New Vegas shows up and's like, hey, you want this Rancor? And Boba Fett's like, I want to ride it. Like a Bantha. Yeah, like a Bantha was probably the greatest thing we got of this show. I can't believe it took me, how long? We're like 14 minutes into this. And I've only just now mentioned like a Bantha. Honestly, what a great meme. Anyway, so yeah, he rides the Rancor. It happens, and that's how they get rid of the droids. That are basically just big droidekas. They have shields and like they're literally droidekas. Anyway, yeah. What else happened? Grogu made the Rancor go to sleep, and oh yeah, also Mando got a new ship. That was cool. I mean, it was an M1 Starfighter. Oh, that actually was pretty cool, I'm gonna be honest. Can't wait to pay like $60 or whatever Lego charges for it when they make it into a set. Oh boy, do I love spending money. Anyway, it's just, I don't know, it's whatever. The setup for Mando season, I'm guessing that it's kind of like they're setting up Mando season 3, where Mando and Grogu go off on more adventures. But also, I kind of don't like that, because, you know, you set up this whole thing of like, alright, Grogu's gonna go off with Luke now. I just kind of figured they wouldn't show any of that, to kind of keep it as like a mystery, and just have Mando go off and do his own thing, but then they just are like, nah, Grogu's too profitable, we're gonna make him not be a Jedi with Luke. And like, as soon as he starts training with Luke, he's just gonna go away and be with Mando, because, I don't know, because we need to make more plushies, I guess, I don't know. It's just kind of disappointing how it went like that. So, I think it would have made more sense if he went with Luke, but he was always gonna go with Mando, because that's how it is, so, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, the way I'm talking about it makes it seem like I have more gripes with the show than I do, you know, praise. And that's probably true. But at the end of the day, a lot of stuff happened and I kind of liked it. I just think this series had a lot of things that could have been changed, you know. Focus more on Boba Fett. Mix all the other stuff up. Mix the episodes up a bit. So you have, like, this stuff over here. And also, like, Cad Bane doesn't need to be in the show. It's kind of cool that he is, but, like, he serves no purpose whatsoever at all. Like, there's many other things I could have done. It's just, I don't know. And then stuff like at the end of the finale, like, oh, actually, it was the Pikes who, you know, killed the Tusken Raider family. It's just random reveal like that. Like, okay, you're just confusing an already confusing story. And you have stuff like this Sanctuary where this Twi'lek lady is. Like, it was just a bar. Like, why did that keep coming up? They never established why that was important. Was it like, is it like a cultural spot for Mos Espa? I feel like it was just kind of there. And then it blows up and we're supposed to feel sad, I guess. It's just a lot of stuff in the series. It doesn't make sense. So, yeah, it was disappointing overall, but I think it was okay. And it could have been better. So, hopefully Star Wars stuff in the future is better. But, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where I don't think this is going to age very well. Because, like, it was cool when it happened. Same with Bad Batch. The more I thought about it, it's kind of just like, oh yeah, that happened? I kind of forgot about that series, because, like, there was some cool stuff that happened. But, it just, And I really don't want Star Wars to do this, where it just becomes bland as there's just more stuff. Because at least when the sequels are coming out, people were talking about it. People were up in arms and how upset it was, but at least people were talking about it. With Book of Boba Fett, it's just like, oh, another Star Wars show came out? Okay, whatever. So, I don't know, that's my biggest issue with Star Wars right now, is it's just becoming meh. Like, why? Why does it have to happen to the stuff I like? This isn't fair. Anyway, I don't know. If I ramble on for any longer, I'm probably just going to continue to get sad. Because, whatever. So anyway, yeah, Book of Boba Fett. It was a thing that happened. I reviewed it just now. This video went way longer than I thought it would. I thought I was just going to be like, it happened. That's it. That's all I have to say. But I actually had way more to say than I thought it did. So if you watched the video all the way through, I appreciate it. Like, a lot. Like, you don't know how much I appreciate you watching my videos. It means so much to me. Like bottom of my, is my heart over here or is it over here? Whatever. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you. So thank you for watching this video. I'm going to stop the recording now. Bye.